Hello, and welcome back. This is day 5 of Game Over Cancer here on Twitch.tv. My name is Super Jamoose here on this Good Friday, and I'll be your humble host as we get into our late afternoon and evening here, all for an amazing cause. We're raising funds for the Canadian Cancer Society. And speaking of which, I'm going to start off right away. We have hit another milestone. We have hit $1,750 total raised. Thank you all so very much for your generosity and for your support. The donation that kicked us over was for $21.29 American from Mitten Z that says, "Here's to dispatching cancer the painful way. Dono going towards being a witch in dicey dungeons." Thank you, Mitten Z. Thank you very much. We mean to go on. We're going to kick things off in high style with a little humble video game that was probably one of the absolute highlights of the otherwise dismal year of 2020. It's Hades. And here's where we get to tap into what those donation dollars have been helping us shape. MarkAlarm is here to get us through a 3-weapons run, 3 escapes all in a row, but it's you that chose the weapons that Mark will have in his hands. So Mark, I'm going to let you get you settled, let you introduce yourself, and when you're ready, I will announce the winning weapons. Over to you.
All right. Hi, I'm MarkAlarm. I also have BD with me on commentary if you want to say hi.
Howdy, everybody.
So real quick, I'm going to die. This is just to show that I'm not playing a seeded run, so this is just to get a quick reset in, so I'm going in not knowing what I'm going to get. So, real quick, I'm going to go grab my starting weapon, if you'd like to announce the winning weapons.
Absolutely. Our 3 winning weapons were the fists, the bow, and the rail.
Yeah, so I'll be doing those weapons in that order. So I'll start with the fists since it raised the most money, and then bow and rail tied. So I'll do bow second just because I think it'll be a nice alternating sequence. So I'll start off with the fists, and if you want to count me down, I guess I can count myself down.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, go for it, sure.
All right, Mark. When ready to go, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Video games.
Video games!
Alright, welcome to hell, everybody. This is Hades, as sort of mentioned earlier. This is a 2020 roguelike by Supergiant Games, the absolute best indie studio on the planet. No, I will not take arguments to the contrary. And we are Zagreus. We are trying to escape Hades. If you have not played this game, I'm not going to tell you anything about the plot of this game. I'm going to let you experience that for yourself. Here's what you need to know. We are punching a whole bunch of things in this first run. We have the fists, and in this first run, I kind of just want to set the tone for some of the mechanics you're going to be seeing, because really, there is a lot that goes into speedrunning Hades, especially speedrunning Hades unmodded, which Mark is doing for us here today. Effectively, what happens is, it's a series of enemy arenas, so you'll be progressing through the various rooms and the various levels of the underworld, increasingly getting harder and harder, picking your destiny based on what you want to get out of beating that room. And listen, this is a good start. We've already got a fountain room. At the end of each level, there is a boss, or a guardian, if you want to use the vernacular that is being developed. And then once you clear that, you get to move on. It sounds easy on paper. It's much harder in practice, and it's harder even still to go fast doing it. Right now, Mark is going to be entering a shop where we get to meet Charon for the first time. Throughout Hades, enemies as well as various pots will drop gold that you can use to spend on the shops sort of in the mid-run, as that was a mid-boss. Normally that might take a bit longer, but we have a friend, Megara, who we can call in to help out. What you just saw Mark pick up is a boon, and this is a good Tartarus. We have a fountain, and we're meeting Sisyphus, so this is a good combo. What we're seeing here is sort of the ultimate structure of a run in Hades. throughout the various floors, you will get the chance to visit other Olympian gods, who will give you their boons. Those boons will affect your attacks. Zagreus can attack, he can do a special attack, which changes for each weapon, and he can do a cast, which is sort of like a built-in projectile. Zeus, which Mark just picked up, just gave the boon for turning his cast into basically chain lightning. So while we're waiting to build up power over the course of a run, Zeus's boon is actually a very strong sort of bridge to help give damage and clear rooms fast while we're building up power over the course of these first few floors. As you can see, things do start escalating quickly as we have our first potential chaos, which Mark is going to be skipping. Because a breach and cross is pretty good. And we have our first boss fight, and it is going to be Electo. We are playing on 10 heat. That is a specific reason. Heat in Hades 1 is sort of the difficulty modifiers that you can stack on. You start with no heat, and then as you progress and make progress through the game, you get the opportunity to add heat in the form of various different difficulty modifiers. Speedrunners typically run with an increased amount of heat, which might sound like, why are we making the game harder? For two reasons. We're making the game harder for ourselves. By the way, 235 Tartarus clear. Very nicely done. We're making the game a little harder by making the boss fights a little harder. Doing that actually makes them significantly faster. We're also doing an extra heat modifier to put a time cap on each floor, and frankly, the reason we're doing that is because it's free heat for us. Like, if we're running up against that time cap, we got bigger problems than going fast. So it's free heat, and speaking of free heat, we are entering the second biome, if you will, of the underworld. This is Asphodel, which has been set on fire. Why? Who knows? These things happen in the underworld, but while we're progressing through, because this is really just a lot more arena fighting, so while we're kind of getting our build together and starting to build these things up, Jamoose, if you have any messages you'd like to share with us, now is a really good time.
Impeccable timing, I certainly do. I have another $10 USD from Mitten Z. In brackets it says Poseidon/Zeus, so I shall do my very best to say, well, no, little Hades. You thought that beating cancer would be that easy. Ho. Looks like you could use my assistance in this venture. Good luck. Donation towards the witch.
That was really
very
good.
Nicely done. That was a very good Zeus-Sidon.
It's kind of an amalgamation. I know it's the same voice actor, so I'll do my best. If folks have more donations you want me to try and voice act a couple, I can do a few from this game. I shall endeavor to do my best, so please, keep them coming.
You just saw Mark pick up a boon of Athena, and that's a very important boon to get, but it's also a boon that Mark knew he was going to get. At the start of each run and in between each floor, you get the opportunity to choose what's called a keepsake, which over the course of the game, you collect these keepsakes from talking to various characters, and each keepsake gives you a specific little perk or a character trait. The individual Olympian gods keepsakes all let you guarantee that you get their boon, which for building and for, let's say, crafting a run is incredibly important, because it basically allows you to guarantee that you're going to get at least one thing you want specifically, which in the case of a Fists run is unbelievably important, because we are aiming for a very specific duo boon for Ares and Artemis called Merciful End. It is a duo boon that is near and dear to my heart. It was the duo boon that I first learned the speedrun on. It's an incredible entry point to Hades speedrunning, because it just melts everything. And right now it appears that Mark is online to get Merciful in. So now we are just hoping to see Ares or Artemis again coming up soon, so that we can get that extra little unlocked damage belt buff. But we're already at the end of Asphodel. Like, alright, we got some rerolls so we can be aiming for this.
That's really unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. You did get Divine Dash. Divine Dash might be the most popular boon in the game because it is incredibly powerful defensively. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually help you get Merciful in. So we are going to take our frustrations on the RNG out on Lerny the Bone Hydra here. For some people, Lerny is like a major choke point for the run. If that is you, I apologize for what you were about to see because this is not going to be a choke point. Lerny's going to take some... Lerny's going to hurt. Don't get me wrong, Lerny is going to hurt, but Lerny is also going to go very fast. And this is why we take extreme measures too. This room right here is why we take increased heat. In the normal Lerny fight, if you're familiar, the room is much wider and the 6 heads that pop up are spread out over the course of the entire room. It's much, much easier because they're not stacked on top of each other, but it is so much slower. Here, with the extreme measures room, we have what I would consider to be a much harder fight, but also a much, much, much faster fight because all the heads sort of pile on top of each other, and we are taking a Death Defiance there. That's fine. It's Lerny. Lerny takes these things from us. But, yeah, and there is Asphodel. We do that so that Lerny's room is a lot closer together, and we can do it a lot faster, and we are out of Asphodel in 5 minutes, 15 seconds.
I was hoping that I would get through that without burning the Death Defiance, but that's okay.
It's all good. You get 3 at this stage. You can earn more and you can take keepsakes to give you more. By and large, most people run with 3, unless you're doing like super high heat runs, in which case oftentimes people take a different type of Death Defiance, which we don't have to talk about here. So we are in Elysium, and I apologize to everyone in the audience who is frustrated because they have played Elysium and it has wrecked them. Elysium's hard. Elysium is hard no matter how good you are at this game. Elysium is a hard biome. In part because the enemies in Elysium, many of them have this sort of 2-stage level where you have to defeat them one time, and then you have to defeat the follow-up before it respawns. So this is a situation where if you're not fast enough, you could actually have sort of an infinitely generating enemy, which is not fun and slow. So we try and kill these things as fast as they pop up. They are some of my least favorite enemies in the game. I think everyone has their least favorite Elysium enemy. Mine is the shield guy, because shield guy, especially on fists, is just rude.
I'll take this one.
Impending Doom is good, but we are looking for Merciful End. So we are holding out. Hopefully we might get it here. Not quite to the mid-fight for Athena. Mark, what's your least favorite enemy in this game?
I despise the shield guys, like you said, but also the like the little I call these go-karts. They're not like these the flame wheels. They are
the only enemy in the game you can pay to have removed.
No thanks.
Okay, okay. We're getting a whole bunch of Ares and Athena, which is good in some respects because it limits the... like, a boon is... Once you get a boon, it's gone. You can't get the same boon twice. So the more boons you get from the same god, the smaller the boon pool gets, and it's more likely you'll get what you want. For instance, in this case, Mark didn't get Merciful End, but he did get a boon from Athena that refilled that Death Defiance he took from Lerny. So he's back up to 3 lives, so to speak, and he may not have Merciful End, but Mark is melting Mysterious right now. This is This is kind of a damage sponge boss fight, or mid-boss fight, I should say. And for not having Merciful End, Mark is melting and made very quick work of a very slow mini-boss. And fingers... Okay.
No way.
Unlucky. You know what happens.
These things happen, right? I mean, these things, this is Hades speedrunning, and this is sort of roguelike speedrunning in a nutshell. You are not always going to get what you want. Straight up. Like, you might get everything to line up in one run out of an entire session, but for the most part, you go in with a goal, or sort of like a plan, but you have to be willing to adapt, and you have to be willing to improvise when the game deviates from your plan. And so knowing what the good backups are, things like Zeus Cast, which is very powerful even without things supporting it. Knowing which boons that Ares and Athena offer and Artemis offer that will kind of help your damage increase regardless of not having the one thing you want is really going to go a long way to help you understand how to make the best of a bad build, and also help you keep moving even when things don't go the way you want. Because spoilers, in Hades, things will not go the way you want. They just won't. I know Mark and I both have had very extended sessions with this game where the game just decided we were not going to have any fun getting anything of value to us, and we were going to have to play with the worst boons and the worst combinations of enemies. And it's very hard to speedrun a game that is actively telling you you're not allowed to go fast today. But that includes Hades sometimes. And it's a testament to how good this game is and how fun this game is, that it keeps us coming back. Alright, we are heading into the heroes fight, and hopefully, okay, there it is! Alright, y'all.
Finally.
Hey, better late than never.
Yeah.
The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Nice, Meg. Okay, y'all, blink and you miss it because this is the heroes fight. This is Theseus and the Minotaur, and they're not gonna be here very long. Because remember I told you about Merciful End just melting things? Yeah, that was Theseus. And that is the Minotaur. And that is Merciful End, everybody.
To more deeply explain what Merciful End is doing, Merciful End takes whatever doom damage you apply and applies it instantly. So with the fists, I have the doom attack from Ares, so I'm applying this effect to these enemies, which deals damage after some amount of time has passed. And with the impending Doom boon that I got, that delays that time by a little bit, but it deals extra damage as an upside. What Merciful End does is it just says, rather than waiting like a second and a half, just apply it now instead. But it only happens if you hit an enemy with some form of deflect attack, which is what Athena does. So either the special, or in my case, the more helpful thing is the dash, is applying it, because the dash is really fast. So all this doom damage is getting applied instantly rather than over the course of, however much time. So being able to repeat that is very nice. Oh, I forgot that I have that.
So, welcome to the Temple of Styx. This is the final biome of the game. And if you thought the RNG was bad, this might be where the RNG shows itself the most. I'm going to be donating $2 per tunnel throughout this run. I'm also going to be donating $10 if we see a special friend as a mid-boss in any of these temples. But there are 5 tunnels. At the end of one is effectively the key to move on to the final boss. It is RNG every time. you do not know what tunnel the key is in. It could be in the second one, it could be in the fifth one. And in this case, we get...
At least the third.
Yeah, it will be in at least the third. There is no way to impact or influence where the sack, which is the key, ends up. We take well, I say we, speedrunners take the 2 mini-boss rooms first because they are by far the fastest. Getting a 3 sack, which is what we call it when it takes 3 tunnels to get the sack, is not ideal, but it's not the worst. Anything above 3, you are...
Oh, I do not. Oops.
And these rooms are tiny. The enemies in these rooms can get very mean very quickly. So basically at this point we are hoping that we see the sack, and we get a 3 sack. Cool.
That's good.
That's not the best. That is, we will take that. We will take a 3 sack in this case, and we will move on. So if you would like to join me in matching this, I will be donating $2 per tunnel that Mark takes over the course of the 3 opens run.
I can probably match that.
And again, I will be donating $10 if we get a visit from Tony.
I don't know if I want to match that because I have gotten that I think 8 runs in a row. This is the first run in a while that I have not gotten it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see Tony if Tony decides to show up. But this is the final boss of Hades. It's Hades. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler for you. One aspect that we did not talk about in terms of Zag's kit is called the call, which is sort of like your super meter. You build up over the course of a run that you can basically use 1 bar of it to do a super move, or you can fill the whole thing up and use the whole bar to do basically a God's version of an ultra move. For this fight, Mark is actually using Hades' own call. If you don't know how you do that, play this game all the way through to the end. It's worth it. This fine. Taking a death here is fine because we are doing damage much faster to Hades than Hades can to us. But Hades' own call makes you go dark, which means that Hades can't see you. And if you use the entire bar at once, it makes you invincible, and Hades can't hurt you. But that is 1 run of Fists, unmodded Hades done in 11:20. Not bad at all.
Not bad. I'll definitely take that. With how late I got Merciful End and the fact that that used a standard level attack, I will definitely take that.
Yeah. So we got to do some housekeeping to get from here to the start of the next run. So Jamoose, if you have any messages you'd like to share, now's a good time to do that while Mark gets set up for weapon number 2.
You see what I was saying earlier? That was 11:20. The best I have done with that aspect, with that Merciful End build, is 12 minutes flat. I swear that it's a thing. You've already put me to shame. See? I was right. I don't have any new donations just yet, though please consider donating for this, because also we have prizes. Don't forget we're giving away prizes. When you donate an amount of only $5, $5 or more, you're entered to win the raffles. We have 4 games we're giving away this time. We have a copy of Street Fighter 6, Resident Evil 4, the new one, the remake, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, that's volumes 1 and 2, and also a copy of Monster Hunter Wilds. These are all excellent games. If you're into any of them, $5 can get you in for it. You're supporting a great cause, and hey, you could walk away with something really nice. Back to you.
How about now, Father?
All right, welcome to Bow. We are starting our second weapon, which is Bow, and I believe we are doing Hera's Bow. So, long story short, with Hera's Bow, rather than throw your cast at enemies, you actually load your cast onto an arrow and fire it at your enemies. So we are going to use Aphrodite's cast to basically superpower our arrows. And if this works, it's going to be really cool because it's going to make everything basically blow up in one hit. And here we are. This is one of my favorite aspects in Hades to run because you can do absolute silly numbers. If you load this cast up right and you get it leveled up, and we've already got Artemis. We got,
definitely take it
listen,
for a
2
win.
fountain rooms and 2 runs. You don't take questions. Exit wounds for this build is a really good choice because we are going to be using our cast almost exclusively. Nothing there in particularly looking exciting, so we're just going to blow right past Charon here. So we talked a lot last run about sort of the general mechanics and sort of explaining things. I do want to take a minute to talk a little bit about some speed tech, because there is a lot of speed tech that is happening here. One thing that you learn over the course of your time running Hades, and hey, Demeter is a really good boss to find in this game, a really good god to find here, so this is going to hopefully look pretty good for us. But as we're fighting this mini-boss, the number of rooms in any given biome is set, and we know them. And speedrunners over the course of the years have mapped those rooms out. And the reason we've done that is getting across from one room to another is pretty trivial. Like, there's no one room that is just so very much bigger that we just dread seeing it that much. But what it really can let us do is influence where enemies spawn. Speedrunners have figured out sort of where the corners are, where the nooks are, and in which room it's most effective to stand, because when enemies spawn in, the more bunched up they are together and the closer you are to the door makes each room clear. So by sort of studying the rooms and by understanding sort of how these things layer on top of each other, you can influence the game to spawn enemies in where you want them and know roughly where they're going to be when they spawn in. So I like to describe learning to speedrun Hades is first off just getting really, really good at it, and then the trick to going fast is learning how to manipulate the game to put things that you can control where you want them to be. And that's, listen, two fountain rooms and 2 Sisyphus visits in 2 runs. We take those. All right, going into this Tisiphone fight. Tisiphone, one of the 3 Furies you can see at the end of Tartarus. Tisiphone is probably the one we least want to see from a speedrunner's perspective, just because she is the only Fury that has these sort of phases. The other 2 Furies will phase and just be invincible. Tis will actually change the arena on you, and that is just longer. So marginal differences, not too bad, and we're out. 2.5 minutes. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
What's really crazy about this Tartarus is I got like essentially all of the gods that I wanted without having to force them. Like, I just kind of got lucky, which is very cool. The gods that I'm most looking for running bow are Aphrodite for like the base, the cast, so that deals a lot of damage. I'm looking for Artemis to hopefully get more casts. And Demeter has some nice supporting boons, and I just happen to get all of them, so it's very comfy in terms of gods that I'm taking. So, love to see it.
One thing that a lot of speedrunners take is, and I've been running so much Hades 2 lately that I have forgotten the Hades run name for it, but each god has a unique sort of curse that will affect enemies. In this case, Aphrodite's makes them weaker, and Demeter's makes them slower, applies frost, basically. There is a perk you can take from sort of the setup window that will increase the damage done to enemies with 2 distinct curses on them by 50%. It is an incredibly powerful perk. And knowing how to stack those curses on enemies is a quick way to unlock all of the damage you're doing. Like that, like I said earlier, once this build gets really online, things get a little nutty in terms of the amount of damage you're pumping out. Specifically, we are looking for a duo boon called Heartrend. Heartrend is the Artemis Aphrodite duo boon, and I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that it is your critical attacks do more damage to weakened enemies. And in this run, that's all we're doing. Every enemy we attack is weakened because we're putting Aphrodite's cast on it. And we're doing a lot of critical damage because that's what Artemis does. Artemis gives you higher critical damage. So if we are able to fully unlock that build, things will start going a little faster. But as of now, we're just making our way through Asphodel. Not the coziest run, but it's never really cozy here. So, Jamoose, if you have anything you'd like to share with us, now is a good time as we're going to make our way back to Lerny.
Certainly. While you're knocking on Lerny's door here, I do have another donation. Another 10 USD from Mitten Z. Is asking me to do Dio for this one, so I'll do my best.
Good timing, too.
What about these?
Hey, Zag, cancer is not so chill, man. I'd love to help you come out on top. Good luck, man. Which, please?
I will say that Dio is the hardest of all of the Olympian gods in Hades to do a good impression of. Like, I think that was a very good Dio impression, because Dio is a sneaky hard impression to try and do. So well done here. And thank you all for that very generous donation. We are back at Lerny, and you can see one, I would say, problem with this build is casts in Hades. When you hit an enemy with them, they lodge in there. They get lodged in there. Normally, when you are just blowing things up in one hit, you can't really tell. But for bosses, when you stick them with your cast, they get stuck in there for a bit. But also, if you miss, with bow is very possible. By the way, sub 5 minute Asphodel fight. Well done. You can accidentally miss an enemy and then fling your cast into the wild unknown and not be able to get it back until it times out and comes back to you, which is very sad. It's super sad in a boss fight, and I want to give a shout out to Lat Millard, the Hades speedrunner, who coined this phrase. When they took Bow of Hera into the Hades fight, loaded up with every cast they had, fired it, it went right past Hades and lodged itself right in the back of the wall and stayed there for the entire first phase. So we do not want that. Will not happen here because we are not going to miss. But it's another sort of aspect of managing your positioning, managing your timing, and managing your aim. Mark is playing on controller, and I will say that the aim assist in this game is very good. But I know a lot of people that run bow on mouse and keyboard because they just do not trust anyone to aim but themselves, and I totally understand why.
Ooh, losing some RTA. That is, that's not a stream delay, that is my computer lagging, for what it's worth.
Sometimes Hades decides to just throw all the particles on screen at the same time. It's fine.
Delicious.
So you see every so often Mark pick up a pomegranate, or choose a room with a pomegranate in it. Palms of Power are incredibly important because they rank up your boons. Is that is another good You're getting a lot of good free rooms here, and I do
Yeah,
not
I
say
am.
that to jinx it. I do not say that to jinx it. I really don't. And we get the Butterfly Ball, which is the much better mid-boss in Elysium, and you can tell that because it's already dead.
Oh, I'm fishing. Oh, and I gotta catch
Let's
this.
go. Fish flex.
I gotta lock in. This is purely time loss. I'm just doing this for fun. It wasn't perfect. Whatever.
It is only, to be clear, that is only a time loss in RTA runs. The in-game timer pauses while you are fishing, which is why we flex on people. When we're doing in-game time, if you do take a break to fish, you can take a fishing break in the middle of an IGT run, and it will not cost you any time. When you are racing someone, fishing is probably the most disrespectful thing you can do, which is why we always do it whenever we can.
Naturally.
Naturally.
But something that I want
Alright.
to point out is back in Asphodel, I did not get the mid shop or the story room. So those are like two like really notable free rooms that I really would have loved to see, but I did not get them. So I'm glad that I'm at least getting one of them here. Give me the legendary. Oh, that's
Let's
so
go.
good.
That's huge.
That's so good.
That is 4 extra casts. Normally you get 3. If you're lucky, you can pick up an item to give you 4. Mark just got 7.
I did buy a couple casts from the Well of Charon. So the legendary that Artemis applies is only an extra 2 casts, but combined with everything else I have, that is really nice to say the least.
And so you're not stuck on one, like you can load up as many casts as you have into one shot. So what you're gonna see is Mark just start basically just strapping bombs on top of bombs onto a single arrow and then just launching that arrow. And it's honestly, it's gonna overkill most of the things you see here. Like, it's not gonna look that, I don't wanna say it's not gonna look that impressive, but it's not going to be as big a deal in these rooms as it will be in the boss fight. Because the boss can take all of those hits, but goodness gracious is it gonna hurt.
Always a pleasure, Charon.
Alright, y'all.
Power of Olympus.
Level 6 crush shot, 7 casts, fully loaded bow Hera. I'm gonna say this, don't blink.
Oh, that's not a... There we go. All the casters. Minotaur. There we go.
And there it is. That is how speedrunners fight the heroes.
And even then, that wasn't even a perfect fight. Still very quick though. That's back. Let's go.
Almost out of here.
Alright, we are heading up to the Temple of Styx for run number 2. Which means it's time to face the tunnels again. We had a 3-sack, which is the shorthand for 3 tunnels before getting the sack. We'll see how many it takes to get here. Artemis on the mini-boss is a very good sign.
That was awesome.
I will say that. But as we're making our way through this first tunnel, the first tunnel has like a 0.15% chance to have the sack. The first tunnel won't have the sack. So while we're making through the first tunnel and getting to the second Jamoose, if you have anything you'd like to share, now is a really good time.
I'm just so glad I was on mute for all of that because I was shouting that entire fight. That is just, that is satisfying. Fully loaded for me is the absolute rarest legendary I have ever seen. It just does not happen for me. My donations here. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go for it. I was just gonna say, Cast builds are kind of like niche. Like they really have to load into a specific aspect. So if you're not running a cast aspect, there really isn't a reason to go for cast builds. So seeing fully loaded is always a treat when you do have the build you want to see it on.
Absolutely. I will mention very briefly our charity that we are raising funds for here. This is the Canadian Cancer Society, a charity that funds high-performance research that improves cancer outcomes and addresses the greatest opportunities for the progress against the disease. Their approach to fighting cancer is comprehensive. It's not just funding research, but it's also educating Canadians on how to reduce the risk of cancer and also to provide support services to those with cancer and to provide support to their loved ones in such a challenging and dark time. All this money that's coming in here, this is all towards a excellent cause. Please consider donating. Back to you.
Awesome, and we got the 2-sack, so that is the best possible RNG you can get in the Temple of Styx, is to get that 2-sack. Unfortunately, there had to be sort of an asterisk or sort of a, you know, wistful aspect to this build. We never got Heartrend, which ultimately almost doesn't even matter because we have 7 casts and we just phased Hades in like 10 seconds. So, yeah, and so Hades has a tendency to, well, first off, Hades hits like a truck, which is just kind of the aspect of his character. But for speedrunners, what we least want to see is him disappear. Hades has a tendency to go dark and just go invisible, and when Hades is invisible, he cannot be hit. And it really is just, it's sort of like the Hades equivalent of the Mike Tyson 8-second delay. It just makes things take longer. It doesn't make it any easier, it just affects the timing. But when we've got 7 casts and we're doing so much cast damage with each shot, I mean, we are so much more powerful than Hades right now. It's just a matter of, honestly, at this point, it's face tank. You're face tanking the boss, and that's a 930. That's a 928. That is a very nice run, unmodded.
For what it's worth, that is only like 20 seconds slower than my bow PB. I have not invested as much time into bow as I have other weapons, but I'm very happy with that run. Much happier with that than the fists.
Yeah, anything sub 10 minutes is basically something that you can print out, frame, and hang on your wall. 10 minutes, like if you can beat a run into under, like 10 minutes is, well, it's an obvious milestone just from a numbers perspective, but it also from an actual gameplay perspective is an incredibly relevant milestone. So if you can get a run under 10 minutes, you are running at a very, very high level. All right, it's time, y'all.
Last weapon already.
Last weapon already, and it's time for everyone's favorite ancient Greek weapon. It's time for gun. It's gun time, y'all. We are running Eris Rail, and as a Hades 2 player and runner, this hits a little differently. But back in the pleasant times when Eris Rail was a happier thing to think about, I mentioned in the first run that Merciful End is one of the first ways that people learn how to speedrun Hades. Eris Rail might be as if not more popular of a run. Eris Rail is, well, it's gun. You get a 12 bullet chamber, and you get a rocket launcher. Those aren't the best hammers you could have hoped for, but honestly, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Eris Rail's gimmick is that if you fire your grenade launcher and then if you stand in it where it lands, you won't get hurt, and your attack, actually I think it's just your damage, flat damage, will get a massive buff.
I believe it's 75%.
Yeah, at the highest level it is a 75% damage boost for like 5 seconds. So Eris Rail doesn't need a lot of help to be powerful, especially at the early levels. So it's a very popular weapon for learning mechanically how just the game works as a whole. Because it's very forgiving and it's very accessible to go fast on. That is a good boon to find. And we have a natural zap. We have found the natural zap, which is a very blessed run. Zap is a shorthand for Zeus, Artemis, Poseidon, which is one of sort of, I'd say, the most. Yeah, y'all. This is
gonna be
really,
fast.
Yeah, this is a balanced run. Zeus, Artemis, Poseidon is probably the most common and the most established speedrun meta in terms of builds. Zeus attack, Artemis special, Poseidon dash are the three most powerful in slot builds. Hey, we're gonna visit Chaos. Awesome.
Isn't the first
So
time
everyone say
this,
hi to
this
Chaos.
run? I will take the attack increase.
That is not the worst you could have hoped for.
I'll take the attack increase.
Chaos pops up every so often, and basically for an exchange of some health, because it costs some health to go visit them, but they will offer you sort of a trade deal, where if you can survive a few rooms with their little perceived handicap, you'll get an incredibly powerful buff. And that is a 3 for 3 in terms of Boldy visits.
That is actually wild.
That is not common.
That is very rare.
You will go days without seeing Sisyphus.
Hades bug reporter.
Uh-oh.
That's never happened before.
That's never happened before.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna relaunch Hades. So I have 215 hours in this game. That has never happened before.
I'm not gonna say how many hours I have in this game because it would look poorly on me.
Okay, it looks like
I've
it's
never
working
seen
fine.
that. I've never really seen that happen before either. Luckily, if y'all didn't know, Hades will autosave after every room.
It's still streaming, right? Like, we're good.
Yeah. No, you're coming through fine on my end.
Okay, cool.
Everything looks fine here.
Perfect.
So we're gonna say hi to Meg. Meg is probably, I'd say, the Fury people are most familiar with. She's the one that's there from the beginning. She's the one that we've been calling in to help, and we're just gonna try and.
I'm just gonna eat the damage and try to play fast. Where is she? Oh, okay. I don't want to burn another one.
Yeah, the thing with Eris Rail is a glass cannon, because you get so powerful, everyone will index into damage across the board. But what that does is it kind of leaves you vulnerable. And Hades enemies, they don't always hit hard, but there is a very real, I'd call it stun lock potential, where you can basically get caught in a damage loop and blink and lose 2/3 of your health bar. And there's very little you can do about it. So you can either build defense, or you can get really good at dodging. And the best speedrunners all are. If there's one thing that Hades speedrunners at the highest level are good at compared to others, it's not getting hit. Because not getting hit makes you do more damage because you're not stunned, but also not getting hit means you can take more damage. And do we get? Yeah, we get a visit to. Oh, we get them both. We get Orpheus and Eurydice. If this is a surprise to you, play Hades. And if you're not used to seeing these two characters together, play it more. But we got to visit Eurydice, which is a really nice little break in the middle of Asphodel. Eurydice can do one of three things. She can give us a whole bunch of levels to our boons. She can upgrade the rarity of one of our boons at random, or she can make it so that the next 2 boons we get have a higher rarity. And I think you went with the increased rarity of ones you already have. If I saw that right.
I went with the level ups in hopes that I would get level ups on boons that I care about, and it was kind of not what I wanted, but that's okay. You know, it happens.
That's okay. Because with that, because the thing is that we don't need it. Like in terms of what we're trying to get now, it's almost gravy. Because what we have now from a damage perspective is so powerful that
finally Thanatos decided to show up.
Everyone's saying hi. Everyone say hi to Than. Than is the best friend in game time runners and the biggest headache to RTA runners. I am an RTA runner primarily, so I'm not always a fan when Than shows up. But basically, if Than shows up, that room, wherever Than decides to show up in, becomes a bit of a sporting contest between him and Zagreus. And it becomes a matter of who can kill more enemies. And yeah, we kind of housed him. But it pauses the in-game timer. And if you win, you get an extra 25 max health, which is always helpful. We're gonna visit Chaos again.
I'm gonna take the additional health for safety.
Yeah.
I could reroll there to go for like a stronger attack or something. I have like no money.
You have no. Yeah.
Didn't even realize that.
You did get the health refill though, which is really nice. All right, our final Lerny fight of the day. And this one is also gonna go. Oh, that was fast.
That was fast. I am controller died. One moment.
That is a bad place for your controller to die.
Yeah, that's just you know, I probably should have swapped out the batteries before I started this, or had my controller plugged in, or you know, any combination of the above. You know, we're just burning RTA this run. You know, like we had the game crash.
This is not a three weapons race. This is a 3 1-weapon IGT runs.
Yeah, that's effectively been my mentality with all of like practice. Has been like, oh, it's just like 3 any heat runs. I just am using a different weapon, and I just need to not be bad. So now I need to like actually not entirely choke, because you know I would actually like to complete all of the weapons. Okay. Let's calm down there, Lerny.
We're good. You're good. It's fine. Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Just let support fire do its thing.
Let it ride. We're fine.
We're through. It's fine. It's fine.
And now I get a health refill, and we'll get the sorority room and Elysium, and I'll get my death defiances back, and everything will be.
I mean, we've seen every other NPC. We might as well see. You know. We might as well visit the boys while we're here. But we're like, there's a couple things we could be getting here that would help. Honestly, at this point, like anything that isn't a specific weapon upgrade. All right, y'all. This could be the thing that really makes this build silly. We haven't talked about hammers at all, and hammers are a reward you can get that give your weapon a specific upgrade. For bow, it can give you 2 arrows, for instance, or for fists, it can do things like make you do more damage to armor. With rail, there are some very powerful hammers that if we get one of them here, oh, we got it. Mark now has a rocket launcher.
Pew pew.
We are going to be doing a lot of damage, and really, frankly, I don't know if I could keep up with explaining this. So, Choose, if you have anything you'd like to share, or if you have any questions off of anything you've seen, now's a great time.
I actually will add one thing real quick. The one thing that I'm looking for still this build is getting an effect from Zeus called Jolted, which I did get.
You mean that thing you just got, like, right there?
Yes, that thing that I just got right there. I have like no money. That's great. Anyway, yeah. So the Jolted just effectively does more damage, and that's So or specifically, all of like my electric lightning-based attacks are going to be doing more because it's applying this additional effect to all enemies that get hit by it. That's like the core thing that I was hoping for. I was hoping to get Zeus or more Zeus way earlier, but I just wasn't getting him. I was getting a bunch of Artemis, and Artemis is nice in terms of support, but not in terms of the core build, so I had the attack, but nothing else, so... Anyway, continue, sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah, at this point it's just cleaning up. We're hoping to see Patroclus, we're hoping to basically just make it through without too much more drama.
Oh, they just... Okay, I missed them entirely.
Yeah. This bridge room is annoying because the enemies can spawn on the wrong side of the room, and then you have to A, find them, and B, navigate their projectiles before they just throw them right in your face. But yeah, as we're making our way back to the heroes, Jamoose, if you have anything to share or any questions that you have or anyone else may have, now's a great time to get them in before things start wrapping up.
There's an interesting measure of irony here, having run out of battery power and now suddenly thinking, oh, Zeus is here? No big problem. We have Joseph now, so everything's fine. Everything's going to be just great. I do have one last donation, $10, again, USD from Mickey Z. Asking you to do Ares on this one, so you have to really slow down, because actually Ares is not an angry voice at all. It says, Hellspawn, cancer is a plague upon the world, and I wish to help you dispatch this threat. And says, I cast a spell on you because I'm a witch, obviously. I get the feeling that's the incentive that Mickey Z is putting this towards. Thank you once again for all of your generous bestowals. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much for all your generosity. There's a few things that we could have gotten that would add more damage that are sort of like just blanket damage upgrades that we could have gotten. Sort of a combo called hyper delivery, which is, it's not an official duo boon, but it's 2 boons back to back from Hermes that basically give you a universal damage buff after every time you do a dash. We got one of the 2. We got hyper sprint, but we did not get rush delivery. So we're moving faster, but not hitting harder because of it. And yeah, we're on our way to heroes.
I'll take it.
And getting some health. So don't let that health bar scare you too much. Yes, it is not it's not perfect, but the health bar is the health bar scales to max health. So 50% health is one thing, but 50% health when you have 310 max health, you have a little bit more breathing room than it might appear visually.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get the story room, which would allow me to replenish all of my Death Defiances for free, and I would have really appreciated that, just to have a little bit of extra safety going into the Hades fight, but that's okay, you know?
Yeah.
So we don't get what we want all the time. But the rest of the stuff's been pretty solid.
Especially when we see Red Hades. Are you going Acorn? Or are you yeah.
I'm gonna hold on to the Acorn just for safety. I'm also gonna get a little bit of extra health just in case.
That will help, because one thing there are in Styx is there are a lot of tiny enemies, and the item that Mark just bought from the well basically gives a percentage for a health drop anytime any enemy dies. So the more small enemies there are, the more likely it is that Mark will basically just get a flat health regen. So this could add up quick. as we start making our way through the last set of Styx tunnels. I'm gonna let you get through the Styx tunnels before I ask you this question, Mark. But I do want to say real quick, I picked up Hades speedrunning in early access, and I really started getting into it deep when, as many of us did, when the pandemic hit, we found ourselves a whole lot more time to play more video games. I'm not normally a failure person. I don't necessarily enjoy the feeling of failing in video games. Hades, playing it over and over again, learning it, enjoying the characters, it is one of the best experiences I've had. It is one of my favorite things I've ever done in playing video games. Speedrun is a beautiful game, speedrun its sequel. And I cannot encourage you, if you're scared of running roguelites, I get it. This game will make you very angry. This game will make you very sad. This game will make you feel things you didn't think a video game could make you feel. And it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. Mark and I both come from the Super Mario World ROM hacking family, and this is about as far away from that as you can possibly get.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's part of the reason why we both play it, is because it is as far away from that as you can possibly
Rush
get.
Delivery, let's go.
Hey, we got Rush Delivery. That is actually a non-insignificant damage buff, because that was epic Rush. That was epic Rush Delivery too. So Hyper Delivery is online, which means Mark is going to be doing about 50% more damage every time he dashes. So big win for that. But yeah, I love this game. Supergiant Games is an incredible developer, and that's a 3-sack. So that is 8 tunnels in 3 runs. So I will be donating. I'll just make it 20. I'll just round up because why not?
Remind me,
yeah.
I'll match that. They're already
the last
coming
boss
into the
fight.
final fight.
This could still. This
I could
go
still
so
die.
many ways.
I could
Yes.
still lose. It can happen.
It can happen. But assuming Hades doesn't play absolutely unfairly, Jamoose now is if there's time to share any final messages or love for Hades or love for Mark, now's a good time to do it while we take care of Dad here.
I echo the sentiment of the idea that yes, you're going to fail a lot. I could not get past Megara for about my first 25 runs, and that was frustrating, glass-chewing, angry is what that was, but you fail forward. Every time you learn something, you get a little bit better, the game gives you more resources, just keep trying, and you will get there, and you will build yourself through this amazing story. I know it's a speedrunning event, but I want to gush about the music for this game. And like, shout-outs to Darren Core, he was the primary composer for the game. He had a term for it, Mediterranean progressive Halloween rock. So there's that, and he's also the singing voice for Orpheus. This man has just absolutely unfair creativity and vocal range. And while I'm blabbing on, GG.
Time will come on the victory screen. And time.
What was my
What is it?
final time?
That was a 10:20 in-game time.
10:20. But I mean, like the
Yeah,
the
your
whole-
total.
What was the total?
It's just about an hour.
Wow.
My timer here says 1 hour and 13 seconds.
Nice.
I cannot believe I lost sub-hour to my batteries dying. And the game crashed. Oh my gosh.
There had to be one thing.
Unfortunate, but that's okay. That was
Sub-hour 3 weapons is no joke. Incredible for unmodded. I think, like, 3 weapons was the category I focused on most when I was a speedrunner, and getting a sub-hour run is always the goal for this. So huge GGs. That's an incredible run.
Yeah, that went much better than I was expecting. I'm very, very happy with how I played. I didn't lose any runs. It was died, but no full losses. So feeling good about that.
I mean, you got a lot.
Oh wait, I do
The other-
have
oh,
I
there's
do
a
have a
fish. Okay,
fishing spot.
we know what we have to do now.
Come to me,
That was
fishes.
a fish.
There.
Nice.
Got me a bass.
Very nice.
Oh, you said you had a question for me after the Styx
Yeah.
tunnels.
What got you in? What was it that got you into speedrunning this silly game of ours?
Speedrunning Hades?
Yeah.
My uncle got me into playing Hades, and then I just fell in love with it. Yeah, that's really about it. But yeah, thank you so much, BD, for doing the comms with / for me. And thank you to Game Over Cancer for letting me run this. This was a really good time. Had a lot of fun doing it, a lot of fun practicing, and being able to showcase it. I hope everyone enjoyed the run. Wasn't talking as much as I thought I would, but I just tried to lock in the best I could and play well enough. And I got a sub 10 out of it in game. That was kind of my goal, was to get at least one of those. So I'm pretty happy.
Sub 10 single runs. Well, honorary moral sub hour 3 lap.
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing else. BD, if you have anything else that you want to say or share, feel free.
I'd say first off, follow Mark. I don't stream, but you can catch me. Like I said earlier, I'm an SMW person, so you can find me at SMW Central and at ROM Hack Races if you want to see some of the more SMW side of the things we do. But yeah, play Hades. And then play Hades 2 when you're done playing Hades, because Hades 2 is also really, really good.
All right, Mark, BD, thank you so much for that amazing trifecta is the right word for it, trifecta. We have escaped from the underworld, but there's still more layers to this speedrun ordeal today. On deck, coming up next, is Kitsune Tales, run by Debonair VT. Don't touch that dial, folks. We'll be right back with more Game Over Cancer.